it's so like an Edgar Wright fastball. The thing is, I saw Edgar do Hot Fuzz. I've seen him do Baby Driver, Shaun of the Dead. I mean, the guy knows how to direct action, but he's never really unleashed it like this. And I think that was the most exciting thing is when you're an actor, you look at the weapons that are sort of in a different director's disposal, and you go, okay, what have they not fully thrown you? Primed for something really electric, something really cinematic, and he gets to deliver it with The Running Man. This is an action movie that is like no other. In the fact that we've seen visceral, intense action movies, that's one thing. But you have this Edgar Wright lens on all of it that makes every single sequence not only intense, but absolutely electrifyingly fun. And he also, you have all the different cameos. It's a road movie. So along this journey, you're met with all these iconic actors that all just swing hard and kill it. And it just makes this movie like no other. It's the most fun cinematic experience you'll have all year. It was the sort of pact that Edgar and I made early on with this movie, and we both barely made it out alive, but no shortcuts. We wanted to make sure that we got it all in camera, that we really delivered, that we weren't relying on post-production or visual effects as much as humanly possible to really catch the action in camera, because there's a difference. When an audience is experiencing what you experience on the day, if you are feeling in danger, the audience will feel in danger, and there's something that is like a spiritual connection. There's a pact you make with the audience on these things, and I'm so glad we did it, because it really makes this movie, again, it just hits on every level. It's a rare kind of action movie.
I love that this movie is based on the source material, whereas Schwarzenegger's movie, which people who have seen it are around long enough, it's not the same movie. It's not the same story. There's characters that were married together, and this is based on the source material. So I think Stephen King's really happy about it. Makes me happy. It's great, man, because he has, you work with different directors, and different directors like Denis will focus on the actors, but I know he's got everything going on, but he doesn't let you know that, whereas Edgar's different. Edgar's looking, and you can tell he's looking, and you're like, oh, is he not paying attention to me, or does he, you know what I mean? And then you see the final product, and you go, oh, and he cares, and he's a kid. I think he stopped around 13 years old, and he still has that wonderment and that excitement and all that, and I love that in a human being. Most of the great filmmakers I know have that. It's really fun. I mean, it's really fun, but it's also really emotional. And you have decent actors. So you have Glen going through emotional moments, and then it's a really, really fun. It reminds me, I just did a movie called Weapons and Zach Kreger, so people are like, oh, these kids are missing, I don't want to see that. And then you go and see it, and people are seeing it multiple times because it's funny, it's absurd, and I think Edgar has that same thing. He realizes that, look, it's a heavy subject matter, but at the same time, we need to laugh. It seems like they love it, you know what I mean? We've been to Toronto, we've been to London now, and you go, I don't know how things are going to be, reacted to. And the reaction has been really good.
It is a dystopian story, really about an everyman just trying to take care of his family. That story, since time immemorial, is a story that you want to get behind. A good guy who's just trying to do the right thing, and then he's got to go out into the world and do some really crazy things, and the world is going to affect him in one way or the other, but he's still got to hold on to his integrity. I think that's pretty much every single person right now, trying to figure out who we are, what are we willing to do, how much does it cost? Does it cost your soul, or how much is up for grabs in a way, whether it's about your humanity, what's about what you care about. That's what it's about. And so I feel like if we can go into a movie theater together, have an action-packed, adrenaline-fueled ride together, which it's also funny and it's weird and it's a lot of wild camera moves and your heart's racing, but then at the end of the day, it's a simple story. And I think that's what I think is brilliant about it, and I think it's going to pack the theaters. If anyone knows Edgar Wright's mind, whether it's Shaun of the Dead or Last Night in Soho, anything Edgar Wright he's one of the most incredible auteurs that we have today. And I think if you want to go in and feel like you want to strap in, he's going to take you on a journey. He's going to show you things you never thought you would see on a screen before, and all the shots. When I tell you, it's great for film students as well, and also ordinary folks who just like a good time in the movie theater, your mind's going to be blown. Well, first of all, I've gotten to know Glen Powell a lot, and you want to root for Glen Powell. He is sort of like, he's your everyman who's got a lot of heart. He's funny. He's also buff as hell, so he's eye candy as well. And he's just a good guy. You want to get behind this guy and watch him really take on this film and really just go through the motions to try to right the wrongs in the world. And then I play Bobby T, the most famous game show host in the world. And if you want to see my most theatrical self, come and watch this film. You can cheer and boo everybody. And then you may be challenged with who you cheered for and then who you booed for. It may turn around. It's kind of cool. It's very interactive in that way. So I think audiences are in for a wild, wild, good ride.
The movie is a fun ride, but it's also really thought-provoking. Stephen King wrote this in '81, 45 years ago, and it speculates about a future for America at that time that, luckily The Running Man isn't the United States' most popular show right now, but it allows us to reflect and consider what that might look like if it was. So, as fun as the movie is, I hope it's thought-provoking. The movie is a really, it's a ride like only Edgar Wright can deliver. And Ben Richards is played by Glen Powell, who has such a sense of strength, and he's one of those guys who can put themselves in the middle of the mess and figure out a way out. So even though the world is incredibly hostile, you feel like you're following a character who's going to figure it out. He's such a singular director, Edgar Wright. I always have a good time watching his films. I mean, like a good time. And that comes with his encyclopedia of cinematic knowledge and his ability to plan out a really entertaining film. We shoot some of these action sequences for 2 weeks. And you have to be very prepared to plan out what the shots are, what the audience needs to feel and experience when we make it. So that's, I was such a privilege to work with him and to be on set with Glen playing this role. We had a great time. I mean, it's really craft, isn't it? You do the stunts. You don't just jump off the truck and hope for the best. You rehearse it and rehearse it and rehearse it. And like with the fight scenes I have with him, we do it 1,000 times so that when you get on set, you can forget about it and just play the aggression and play take the hits. And you want to kind of lose yourself in the character's moment so that it feels to the audience not like choreography, but the scene unfolding. So there's a technical bit, to the preparation of it, but really what you're trying to deliver is the experience of it, which is, violent.
I've heard you need a Valium at the end of this thing, or a glass of scotch. It's 2 hours of jam-packed stuff. This is filmmaking at its ultimate. When you're in the presence of genius like that, sometimes it's really strange, because he's just a guy. He puts on his shoes one at a time, just like us, and he was finding his way through these scenes, and he loves actors, and he loves shooting. I really react to that when somebody's having a great time on his set, because this is what they'd rather do than anything else in the world. And he was smart. I could tell that he had the whole film in his head, and it's not a small task to parse out what the pieces have to be to make the whole. I've tried directing. It's really hard.
Oh my gosh, I feel like everyone's looking for an excuse to go and escape and have some fun in the cinema, and I think The Running Man is just the best film to kind of escape to. It's got great music, it's got great action scenes, it's thrilling, it's exciting, it's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, and Edgar Wright's a genius, and Glen Powell's the best action hero ever. it's so exciting. Like when I first watched the film, I was the only one in the like small cinema screening room, and then I watched it at the premiere in London, and it just made such a big difference hearing people's reactions. You know, they're literally on the edge of their seats, and they're kind of gasping at like shocking moments. They're kind of cheering when Ben Richards is doing well. It's like, it's just so infectious, and I think I think that's the beauty of cinema and going to the cinema. It's a total group experience. I mean, Glen Powell is the most charismatic, hardest working man I've ever met. He is just so, I mean, talking of infectious, it's infectious to watch him on screen. He's just amazing. He's so magnetic, and I just think what he brings to Ben Richards is just amazing. Everyone has to go and see him in this film. They're going to be in for a wild ride, and they're going to leave the cinema with their adrenaline high, having had a great time. I mean, the music is so cool too. It's like you leave and you're kind of humming it and singing it, and it's a brilliant movie. Honestly, Edgar Wright's a genius.
Always is the perfect time for The Running Man, because it is a nice example of what could happen if you let the wrong people take over. So, and then, you know, it's important to support the underdog and to show what the people can do. I read the book. This is kind of closer to the book version than Arnold's version, and that version of Ben Richards is kind of hard for especially a woman to read. He's a lot. So Glen brings like a special charm. He brings a humanity, kind of. He's just somebody described him perfectly. I think as like a theater kid that works out. You know, like he has a charisma, he has a nerdiness, he has a fun to him. And I think with all of that, he can really just, he can shine in so many lights, whether it's being silly or being like a really angry guy without seeming violent. The first like 10 minutes is world building, a little bit of setting the tone, and then after that is just constant action. I don't know how he did it. I would have been exhausted. But yeah, it is, there won't be a moment where you can, I think, blink and not miss something. So I'm just blown away by what he was able to do and what Edgar was able to accomplish with this movie. You know it's going to be fun, quirky, and good. I loved, the second I got the script and was reading the script, I knew it was an Edgar Wright movie. He has his classic cuts in it that he's known for, that no one else really can do transitions like he can. It had his music in it. I mean, I knew it was going to be, I knew there were going to be so many beautiful little Easter eggs, and it was just going to be a visual spectacle, and that's what it wound up being, especially with Chung Hoon Chung behind the camera. I mean, that's one DP I've always wanted to work with, and I'm blown away. I think they can look forward to having an underdog story that anyone can relate to.
I hug this one, because she's brilliant, not only in our movie, but in Christie as well. Oh, she's just a revelation. You're so brilliant.
I think people are going to be in for a ride, everybody keeps saying adrenaline rush, and that's true, right? There's never a dull moment. There's a lot of twists and turns, and I think the action's what's going to bring people in, but I think and I hope that the story is what people are left with. Edgar knows how to really balance and deal with that the different tones, right? So that way you can get all the different variety of it. So yeah, you enjoy yourself in this film. Glen Powell is just amazing, man. Like, his reputation precedes him. Before I ever stepped foot on set, all I ever heard from other fellow actresses and other directors and crew is just how amazing he is, how kind he is, and he lives up to that in person. And so it made for just a wonderful experience. We got to bond over these little babies, some of whom were sick, and having to nurse them and look at each other across the room like, you okay? We're okay? Good, great. Let's, I couldn't have asked for anybody else better to get to do that with.
So excited to see this wonderful action film, and the great Edgar Wright directing it, and Glen Powell, who's the star of it, and all the hard work he did, and a great ensemble of actors and a great crew that worked on this film. I mean, the first thing I noticed from him is his great vision, his great idea of what he wants to see, what he wants to do, and how he communicates and articulates that to the actors. Is just wonderful.
Stephen King said it in 2025, so clearly he can see the future. But this is one of the movies that teaches us that we're stronger together, and I think we need that message more than ever. And I feel like audiences are just dying for something that's action-packed and non-stop and brilliant and exciting, but also, you know, it's about family and coming together and doing what we can for those we love. It was everything. I remember one point, Glenn and I are running away from a burning building, and I'm just looking around thinking, how did I get so lucky? You know, so yeah, it's the best, and I hope more than anything else, everyone just is along for the ride and they feel like they've just been on a roller coaster. That's my goal.
Stephen King wrote the book back in 1973. It wasn't published till 1982, but the year in which he set the novel was 2025. So it seems like perfect kind of kismet that we're out in the last couple of weeks of 2025. But really, I mean, I read the book when I was 14, and it's never left me. And it's very different from the previous film adaptation. So I knew there was another great, entertaining movie in it. Ben Richards is like, sort of the story of the movie is that at first he believes he's like one man against the system. And then as it goes along, without giving too much away, he starts to realize he's not alone. And so I think he's a hero you can really root for. Like, I think a lot of people feel that they, you know, kind of like that the challenges they face in life are insurmountable. And so, you know, it's him versus the world. And then, I don't know, people don't want to cheer him along. Designing the action, I mean, first it starts with the script, and then you do storyboards, and then you get the dream team in of like the stunt crew to kind of actually visualize some of it, because you can draw things, but then you need real bodies to kind of act it out. And then it's also trying to figure it around Glenn doing it, because we wanted Glenn to be the center of most of the action. So it was a, you know, it's a development process, and you know, so all of the sequences in there have been well honed over the sort of prep period, you know, and throughout the shoot, in fact.
Oh my God, it was the most fun. Yeah, it was something I'd never done before or thought I would ever do, and yeah, it was cool. It was great. I think they can look forward to a very faithful adaptation of the novel, and yeah, Edgar and Michael, they stayed really faithful to the source material, and yeah, so I think they'll be excited to see that. Yeah. I mean, it was the coolest. I've been such a fan of his, you know, since Scott Pilgrim, and such a fan of all of his work. And yeah, he really just, I mean, he's an auteur, and you know, knows how to shoot comedy and action, and I think he delivers on everything. I don't know if you've ever seen Glen Powell, but he's a lot wider than I am in the shoulders. Very strong, nice set of pecs on that young man. And so no, I don't think I would be as good of a competitor as Glen's character. You really got to see Glen's pecs on the big screen. You got to see him in the widest format possible. There's some great action in this movie. It's awesome. It's a movie theater movie, and so go check it out.
It's a big, fun movie, and I think we're at a time when people want to have a lot of fun, get out of the house and kind of turn their minds off. But also, this is a movie that allows their minds to stay on too, because it's reflective of the world we live in. It is aspirational and is a movie about an underdog that gets to fight back against a system that's a kind of corrupt system and a game that's rigged. Edgar and I met 25 years ago, right after Shaun of the Dead had come out. Mr. and Mrs. Smith I was working on. We were like young guys at the time in Hollywood, and we've been trying to work together ever since. And I read on Twitter that Edgar had said that the only movie he would ever consider remaking was The Running Man, and so I tracked down the rights to the Running Man remake, and I called him, and we were buddies, and I said, "You said you'd remake it, would you be interested?" And he said, "Yeah, actually I would. How do we go about doing it?" And I was like, "You just have to say yes." And so we finally got to work together, and he's such a visual, thematic, and tonal visionary, different than any other filmmaker that we have. And this is a really kind of perfect palette for him to play with.